You are now tuned into Flipping the Birds, a Philly Sports Network podcast.
What's going on, Eagles fans? Welcome one, welcome all to another episode of Flipping the Birds.
Touchdown! A.J. Brown! That's beautiful. And intercepted by the Eagles. He is hit. They got him again! They got him back at the 26. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, Eagles!
What's going on, Eagles fans? Welcome all to another episode of Flipping the Birds. I'm Bryan Cameron alongside Cory Naito. And if you're joining us now, you are in utter defeat, disappointment. It feels like, the season that was haunting us for so long is finally coming to an end in the most fitting way as the Eagles dropped to the 49ers 24-19, if I'm not mistaken. Last drive, 4th and 11. Eagles weren't able to put anything together. Cory, before we get to the nitty-gritty of the game, how are you feeling, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a frustrating loss. It's disappointing. You're at home against the worst defense in the playoffs. I mean, that was the biggest storyline coming in, right? The Niners were absolutely decimated. They had their 4th, 5th, 6th linebackers. I mean, they signed Kaiser White off the street this week. And,
promoted Eric Hendricks.
Yeah, and Eric Hendricks, and he ends up making the game-winning play pretty much on that triple coverage throw by Jalen Hurts. So we kind of knew that this was going to bite the Eagles, and it did at times during the regular season, and a lot of people were hoping that it wouldn't happen at least this soon in the playoffs, but it did, and this offense certainly has issues. They weren't able to overcome them, whether it's play calling, whether it's coaching philosophy, whether it's offensive line health, whether it's lack of performance from across the board. This is a very frustrating end to a season. I mean, there's no really other way to put it or sugarcoat this.
You mentioned the offense, right? So let's stick to that. The offense, they started off the game pretty, I don't want to say good, but they started off the game pretty well. They committed to the run game. We saw, Saquon Barkley do his best 2024 Saquon Barkley impression, right? It wasn't any big explosive plays, but it was good plays in the middle. And little by little, after that A.J. Brown second, I want to say drop because he didn't really drop it, right? After that A.J. Brown play, when he went to the sidelines and Nick and A.J. got into it, it seemed like the offense just didn't exist anymore. He didn't have a target until late in the second half, and it was in the fourth quarter, and he dropped another one. Devontae Smith, although he led everybody in receiving yards with 70 receiving yards, he felt non-existent at times. Dallas Goedert was the only constant in this offense. What do you make of this team's lack of offense? Let's call it that.
It's just frustrating. I mean, this is an offense that is too good, too talented, and quite frankly, too expensive to be looking this stagnant, looking this out of rhythm. And I agree with you. First of all, I don't agree with what Nick Sirianni did running down the sideline to get in A.J. Brown's face. When I saw the replay, I thought he was running to argue that there should have been a flag for pass interference. And then when I see that he goes nose to nose with A.J. Brown, my jaw dropped. Like, there's ways to go about criticizing or giving your players constructive criticism. Go over to them and say, hey, man, what did you see? Like, I know that's frustrating. There's 2 drops there for AJ. The one, he didn't really have a chance, but it would have been a nice deep ball grab if he could have gotten it. But yeah, I mean, this offense just is too good to not succeed. I mean, you mentioned AJ Brown not having a target until late in the fourth quarter. Why? Why is that? He's arguably the franchise's best receiver all time. The numbers speak for it, and they can't get him the ball. Devontae Smith really didn't do much this game either. You got 2 1,000-yard wide receivers, and at one point they had a combined 70 yards receiving. Like, that's just inexplicable. Meanwhile, you got Demarcus Robinson of the Niners carving up the secondary of the Eagles because he's getting open. There's game call, there's play calling, there's schemes that are getting him open even against one of the best defenses in the league. So it's frustrating. I think if we were to put up a poll anywhere, social media, YouTube chat, 99% of the people would say they want Kevin Patullo gone by today, by tomorrow.
Am I the 1% that would say I want Kevin Matullo and Nick Sirianni gone? And I know people are gonna say, in all due respects, I know you're gonna say it as well. Nick Sirianni does have a hell of a resume with the Eagles, right? But my opinion of Nick Sirianni is that he got lucky. He got a Ferrari for free and got the keys, and he's been driving it with some guy, Kellen Moore with Shane Steichen playing riding shotgun, and they've been guiding him right to those Super Bowls the 2 Super Bowls that we went to. But this season, I feel like we saw the same version of the Eagles that we saw in 2023, or was it 2023? Yes, the collapse. We saw the same. Like this offense, it just didn't go anywhere with him by himself. He's not a good offensive play caller, and never was. Even when he was with the Colts, he just wasn't that guy. I personally feel like Frank Reich really sold him to the Eagles as that guy, and he just wasn't. And I feel like the Eagles have such a tight window. How long do we have A.J. Brown here for? How long do we have Devontae Smith here? Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Lane Johnson. Like, these guys are in such a tight window that just doesn't really sync up. And I feel like they're in a position right now where you have to decide, are you gonna continue wasting it and, going about the definition of insanity and sticking it with Nick Sirianni and his scheme, or do you venture out, go bold, fire him, and find somebody that can do it with this offense?
I mean, I think he deserves at least one more year, but he doesn't deserve to not get blamed for this offense. I agree with you there. The more I'm thinking about it, though, this could be the year that you would want to cut bait with a Super Bowl winning coach this soon because of the coaching candidates that are currently out there. And I know nobody wants to hear this, but the silver lining that with this loss brings is that the Eagles now could have first dibs on a Kevin Stefanski, maybe even John Harbaugh.
Brady.
There's other guys out there. Now, that means all these other teams are also fighting for their services as well. But there are very few teams that are as attractive as the Philadelphia Eagles when it comes to a head coach wanting to get a fresh start. So,
and you get a young Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Right. With A.J. Brown, if he stays, I mean, you asked how long he's going to stay. I had people texting me left and right, cursing the guy out and saying he needs to be gone. And I will stand on this hill. The fan base will regret running A.J. Brown out of this town. They 100%. Will absolutely regret it.
I think his misses today was more so the wind than A.J. Brown. Like, those winds were really pushing in that field. Even Tom Brady alluded to it many times.
Right. Like, everybody's like, oh, A.J. Brown's complaining to Nick Sirianni because he can't catch the ball. No, Nick Sirianni ran over and instigated whatever that conversation was with the star wide receiver when things weren't looking good. And now you've got that kind of black cloud, that tension on your sideline. You're unable to make anything of it in that second half. I mean, you look at the drive chart in the second half, it is abysmal. 3 plays, 7 yards to open up the second half. After you got a break with Quinyon Mitchell forcing a third turnover, essentially because he forced the fumble and it allowed the clock to run out to avoid the Niners kicking a would-be game-tying field goal at that point. Then after the interception by Quinyon, you go 4 plays, -4 yards, and a punt. And you get behind the sticks because of a holding call from Cam Jurgens. Then you get a field goal, then 3 plays, -3 yards after the Niners score a touchdown to take a 1-point lead. Again, another holding call negates what would have been a first down and potentially a spark play for that drive. 8 plays, 47 yards for a field goal, and then 10 plays, 44 yards. You turn it over on downs, and that's your season. So I just think that Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni's guys aren't working, and that's evident. I mean, we saw that with Johnson, in 2023. So, we got that. 2023 was a little different because it was the defense that was really bad, and then that just kind of snowballed everything. But I just think that this offense needs a shakeup, and if it's just Kevin Patullo, I think it could be it. But I would be surprised if Nick Sirianni gets fired. But like I said, with this coaching landscape the way it is, I could see a window where Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman say, hey, we're going to change course here.
I'm just tired of the immaturity at the highest level of this team, and it's a little embarrassing seeing that as a fan, your head coach getting into it if you're wide receiver in the game. But let's talk about somebody that's not so much of that has not been an embarrassment this season. Vic Fangio and the Eagles defense has been nothing but stellar throughout the season. But today, I mean, Brock Purdy did his thing against this, this once very feared defense. I feel like the pass rush wasn't there. I think they didn't get a hit until probably like late in the third or fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken. Quinion Mitchell, hats off to him, two interceptions, brilliant, but the Eagles couldn't capitalize off of it. Outside of that, and you and I were speaking about it, the linebackers were non-existent, pass rush non-existent, everybody else is non-existent. What do you think went into the lack of defense today?
I don't know. I really don't. And I think it was a bad omen when we saw Quinion Mitchell get burnt on those 2 plays on that opening drive. Now, Quinion Mitchell definitely does not deserve blame for this loss. He had 2 great interceptions. And as I mentioned, he forced that fumble right before the half to make sure the Niners couldn't kick that game-tying field goal. But I thought Zach Bond over-pursued on a lot of would-be tackles. I thought Reed Blankenship struggled a bit. The back end of the secondary struggled. I don't know what caused it. I think the pass rush, the lack thereof, was probably the biggest reason because it forced the secondary to be in coverage maybe longer than they were anticipating and then longer than what they have been doing over the last month plus when they were racking up the sacks. So I don't really know what the cause is. I mean, you hold the 49ers to 23 points. This is the team that was averaging 30 a game since week 10. So this was a pretty good offense, all things considered, even without George Kittle, who tore his Achilles, it looked like, during the game. So, I don't know. It was a little uncharacteristic from the defense. But what's crazy is the bar is so high that makes us say, oh, well, the defense didn't play that great. In reality, I don't know. 23 points, that should win you a playoff game, I would imagine.
It should if your offense shows up and if your offense actually has a strategy entering a very, very important playoff game. When it came down to the wire, it kind of hit me, it's like, wow, like I don't think this team is prepared to run a 2-minute offense down the stretch and to put it in the end zone. They got close enough, but in that stretch where they had, what was it called? First and 11, second 11, third and 11, whatever case may be, and fourth and 11, like we didn't see any progress in that little realm of opportunity. And I feel like that just sums up this entire season of just no adjustments, no progress, just too conservative. I mean, we didn't even really see any throws into the end zone, to be honest, right? If I'm not mistaken. Maybe just that first one, I think it was to AJ.
Deep shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, really no deep shots. He tried to hit Goddard down the sideline that he overthrew early in the game, and then it wasn't a deep shot, but they did try and hit Jahan Dotson probably from like 30 yards out.
That one made no sense. He was completely guarded the entire way. Well, here's the way we can look at it, right? The Eagle season is completely over. What is your final thought before we go into our live stream on Tuesday? By the way, Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. What's your final thought going into that live stream of what happened with the Eagles this year?
It was the same story. The offense just couldn't get out of its way, whether it was penalties, whether it was lack of play calling experience, lack of adjustments, lack of aggressiveness, lack of performance. I mean, that's what it was. The defense, that was going to be their calling card this year. I think we all kind of agreed on that maybe midway through the year that's how they were going to win games this season. So the biggest thing is that this Eagles offense was broken with, you mentioned, basically an assembled Ferrari. I mean, you've got 2 1,000-yard receivers. You've got one of the best running backs in the league, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, a Super Bowl MVP quarterback, a tight end that set franchise records in touchdowns. I mean, the offensive line was banged up. We knew that was a big problem. So I don't know, maybe because they aren't going until February now, Jordan Mailata and company will be able to rest up. I mean, Jordan said multiple times this was the toughest offseason for him to just regroup and get healthy. And I think that took its toll. And people don't realize, like, yes, the jubilation and the joy that we get and fans get because of how they win a Super Bowl and what comes of it, we don't really pay attention to the toll that these guys take with their bodies. And I think that showed its head here tonight in this season, is that they couldn't regroup fast enough.
And that's just fact of the matter. It's sad to see the Eagles end the season in this way. I was hoping that they'll at least go to the NFC Championship game, but the gas ran out pretty quickly, and Kyle Shanahan and company were just over prepared, while the Eagles seem to be underprepared. But we will have a more thorough and full deep analysis on Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. on PSN Network. We do appreciate you guys for joining our new channel. We will be actually live streaming here pretty soon on this channel and giving you guys more content as we move forward into the off season. But nonetheless, thank you guys for joining us. Cory, thank you for coming on today. I appreciate you, man. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. And yeah, man. Other
I
than
know
that,
it's
I'm Bryan.
tough. I know. We'll talk about
It
it
just
more
sucks,
tomorrow on our live stream. It's just, you're like numb, and a lot of fans. My wife was at the game and she's been blowing me up this entire episode. She takes it so hard, and a lot of people do. I mean, the Eagles are king here in Philadelphia. There's no doubt about it. And now you got nothing to look forward to next week. No football, and I think that's what makes football so great. Is it's only a once a week event, and the fanfare, the tailgating, the camaraderie, and it just ended like that tonight.
Yeah, they were they took us for a very tough ride this season. Definitely sucks. But we'll keep you guys alive. We'll keep you guys going, and hopefully next year is a better year. Until next week, until Tuesday night, I'm Bryan Cory alongside Cory Knight, and we're flipping the birds.
Flip.